You cannot follow any path. All of us are heard the Yoga Bhakti Marga, Shravana, Kirtana, Vishnu Swana, Palasena, Mandana, Archana, Dasya, Sneham, and Atma Nivedana. Swami has done entire discourses elucidating on each and every one of these paths of devotion. And then, of course, this is Bhakti. And then you have the Jnana. They have the Viveka, Vairagya, Shastra, Bhakti, and Mumuksha. That is Viveka, intelligence, discrimination, Vairagya, detachment. I'm not going to say renunciation, I will say detachment. Shat Sampati, there are the 6 attributes. Sampati is wealth, 6 forms of spiritual wealth. Samadhama, Uparati, Tiksha, Shraddha, Samadhana. And ultimately, Mumukshatva, total desirelessness. That is the Jnana Yoga. All these sound pretty complicated, but Swami brought it down to our level. As he says in the line, Narvapai Priti Vatsalya Paratona Varisthai Daivaku Divachu Bhuviki. He has simplified all this into the 9-point code of conduct, which is now the hallmark of every Sai devotee. Identifying ourselves as a Sai devotee would first mean, as Swami says, discipline of a devotee. Only those that have discipline are devotees. The rest are all, as Swami used to say, bounce and jumps. People come and go. We touch the core and then we bounce back. But on this 100th year of the avatar, when we are celebrating the divine advent of our most beloved Lord, who has led humanity, who has led humankind on the wonderful path of service, let us once again reiterate to ourselves that love all and serve all is not just an aphorism, but it is actually a way of life. To be able to love all, to be able to serve all, is not something that comes overnight. It is a continuous process of samskarana, a continuous process of, what is the right word? Samskarana. Yes, culture. It is a continuous process of refinement. Sanskrit words have multiple meanings, so one has to search for the appropriate connotation that suits the occasion. Now, how does Bhagavan do this to us? How does Bhagavan convert a stone into a beautiful sculpture? He is the divine sculptor. But then, the beauty of Bhagavan is, he does not force anything on us. He has given us this concept called free will. Free will, okay? You make the decision, you live with the consequences. But he is so kind that at every point in time, he makes a U-turn. If we are going on the wrong path, he pulls us back. If we are making a wrong decision, somehow or the other, from inside or from outside, we will get a tiny warning saying, hey, not this, that, not that, this. We all just need to be aware of that. And how to be sensitive to that? All of us know that story from about guru and a disciple, preceptor and a disciple, and how the disciple is trained by the master. For example, it's a small instance which was narrated by Bhagavan himself. How is it that, the context was this, how do we know that we are actually going closer to the avatar? How do we actually know that we are purifying ourselves? How do we know that we are actually evolving? Now, on this 100th year of the avatar, I find these reflections being extremely pertinent, because the Centenary celebration is a Centenary celebration. It's a momentous occasion, and we are all part of it. It is a blessing for all eternity. So going back to that story, there was a preceptor, there was a disciple, and the disciple says, Master, I have been reciting these sacred chants, I have been reciting these sacred slokas and everything all these years, but I don't see any change happening in me. I'm sure those of us who have heard the story will actually already be living in that moment when Bhagavan actually narrated it. I'm paraphrasing Bhagavan. The beauty is, the preceptor smiles at the student and says, okay, here there are 2 buckets here, go and bring water from the bucket, from the river. Not river, but bring the water from the river. The disciple picks up buckets and finds one bucket is almost like a sieve. It's totally, it's got all kinds of holes and it's sort of put up. And then the other one is a clean bucket. It's a full bucket, it can hold water. He looks at the master and the master says, go ahead. So the disciple picks up those buckets and puts it on his shoulders, and the ancient way, the Gurukula, a two-step, a stick, and the buckets on either side. See the multiple levels of the message in this. First, the buckets are balanced. So the student has to balance himself as he's going down to the river and climbing up the steps and coming back to the steps. So balance is achieved. And then he's got a bucket which is like a self. Every time he picks up the water leaks. So by the time it comes to the doorstep of the Guru or to the Gurukula from the river, that particular bucket is empty. It's empty. Every time it's empty. Only one bucket of water he is able to bring. And he does this. The Guru says, just keep doing it. I'll tell you where to start. So he keeps doing it, a month passes, 2 months pass, and then on fine day the Guru calls his disciple and says, what have you learned from this exercise? And the disciple knows that it is time for him to keep his mouth shut, not ask any questions, but listen to what the master has to say. And then the master says, look at it. Look at the bucket which was like a self. When you started using it, it was dirty. It was unclean. It was very, it was dirty. But when you continuously started picking up water and trying to bring water to the hermitage or to the Gurukula, the water kept cleaning and cleaning and cleaning and cleaning that particular self. Has that self been cleaned or not? Has that bucket been cleaned or not? Yes, Master. So, when you keep chanting slokas, when you keep chanting the sacred texts, what you are doing is an internal cleansing process that you yourself are not aware of. That is the reason why sadhana is important. It's an inward path, it's a lonely path. Yes, as Swami Vivekananda said, Munde, there are different paths for different entities. All of us will have to find our own path back to divinity. That's a different concept, that's a different topic altogether. I won't get into that. The second message that this disciple learned from that particular opportunity was this. He was carrying the buckets on his shoulders along the path. So the part of the path, the side of the path on which this water constantly fell from the cell, irrigated that particular path. On the other side, there was no irrigation, obviously the bucket was holding water. On this side, the water was leaking, so there was irrigation. There was a huge row of lovely plants, lovely flowering plants. Lovely, a beautiful, a hedge along the entire path of flowering plants. So the Guru points to that. Were you conscious that you were watering that? No. All you were doing was carrying those buckets of water because I told you to do so. And you focused on carrying those buckets of water, it was only on carrying those buckets of water. But that water irrigated this entire stretch, and all these plants have come to life. So whether you know it or not only does your sadhana purify you internally, it also helps others work without you knowing it. It also inspires others to follow without you knowing it. Therefore, the message that I take or reiterate to myself on this wonderful occasion of Bhagwan's 100th birthday is, let me be like that little lamp. I don't have to be a huge inferno, I don't have to be a huge fire pit to light up a place. It's a small lamp. And as a small lamp, and when I say me, I mean all of us, each one of us is a small lamp. And if we are able to light another lamp, inspire another person, inspire another soul, we don't lose anything. The lamp that is actually glowing, that is right now glowing, doesn't lose anything. But by lighting another lamp, by inspiring another person through action, alright, not through precept, through action. The Swami said, do good, see good, be good. This is the way to God. He actually wrote it on one of the cards that were offered to him on a birthday way back in 1991. I think it is 1991. There's a photograph of that also. Must be all of us must have seen it. Those of us who have not seen it, we can Google it, we can find out that picture. What a powerful message. do good, see good, be good. This is the way to God. So, what I take from this message is, let us continue to purify ourselves. Let us rededicate ourselves to Bhagavan on this wonderful occasion of His 100th birth anniversary. Let us also be clear. It is only when divinity takes a physical form, when Brahman comes down as Ishvara, that there is this concept of birth, death, everything that has a beginning must have an end. All these things are limitations that are created by the laws of the universe, created by the Creator Himself. Swami Himself, when He comes down as a human, in a human form, He lives the life of a human form. As Swami said several times, He has not used any of His divine powers. It is all through His purity, it is all through His patience, it is all through His perseverance, the 3 P's that Swami often refers to, or rather always refers to, that identify and are hallmarks of the true avatar. Purity, patience, and perseverance. Purity in thought, word, and deed. The avatar doesn't need to think, but we need to think, right? Jnanam, Darshanam, Pravesh. To know, to visualize, and then to enter into action. These are different things that are taught to us by Bhagavan through His multiple discourses. I always say, the best way to end the day is to listen to a few minutes of Bhagavan's discourses. I do that. It's a kind of cleansing process for me. Like as somebody said, the last things that we hear before we sleep, the last things that we see before we sleep at night, affect our subconscious, and those are the first things that we remember when we wake up in the morning. That is why Bhagavan has set a discipline, a very simple discipline. He's not asking us to sit and do meditation for hundreds and thousands of years. We can't do that. We don't have that kind of lifespan now. But what we can do is to infuse and suffuse every single moment of our life with Him. And how do we do that? A very simple solution Swami has given for Kaliva, Namasmarana. Recently, a couple of months back, we had this wonderful opportunity of a global Sai chanting, where all of us participated in 2 multiple lines and we chanted Bhagwan's Sai Gayatri mantra. Now that is such a powerful, Swami says, Samohika sadhana, where everybody together is contemplating on the Lord. The energy that is generated by that form of contemplation, that form of thinking of the Lord, is manifold, it's multifold. The impact is something that we will not experience immediately, but the cleansing of being part of that magnificent congregation which is global, virtually co-located, we are all thinking of the same divinity, we are all focusing on the same divinity. Just imagine what kind of power that would have generated and how much of purification would have taken place. That is why Swami says, Satsangam is most important. Ultimately, in the ultimate sense of the term, Satsanga means being in the proximity of the divine, Sat, eternal. But in reality, translated down to human levels, we need to be part of good company. Tell me your company, I shall tell you what you are. These are all wonderful aphorisms, wonderful maxims, and most importantly, wonderful truths that Swami has taught us. It becomes an aphorism when it sounds like a cliche. But in reality, tell me your company, I shall tell you what you are, is one of the most powerful things. Even our parents tell us, be careful with whom you are going around with. Because if they make a mistake, it affects on you. If they do good, it affects on you. If you do good, it affects on them. So being part of society, as Swami says, head in the forest, hands in the society. Do good, be good, see good. This is the way to God. Doing good is to be part of Bhagavan's mission, to be able to perform seva selflessly. I know it's difficult, but there have been multiple occasions in my small association with Bhagavan, just 20 years out of his 85 years. I came in the year 1992 to Bhagavan's Divine Lotus Feet. He allowed me to study at his institute in Centenary for 8 years, my BSc, MSc, BA, postgraduate diploma. After that, Swami gave me a chance to work in his divine hospital in Whitefield. And in all these 20 years of association, as long as Bhagavan was physically with all of us, it has been a continuous learning process, a continuous process of evolution and introspection at every level. Now, I'd like to share just one magical moment with this entire congregation with August Assembly before I conclude. Number one, to be with the Lord, to be able to know the Lord, know in the sense physically, to see the Lord without putting form, to be in Prashantanian or Whitefield or in his physical proximity whenever he allowed it to happen is a blessing. But to be able to listen to the glory of the Lord is also a very great thing, because that gives us a glimpse of what the avatar actually achieved. And the more we delve into it, the more he reveals himself to us. As Swami sweetly said, when you think of me, I think of you. Bottom line, the more you think of me, the more I think of you. And the more God thinks of us, the faster we progress. And how Swami reads our mind. I would like to end this talk with just this small, wonderful memory of God. We have often heard this, Swami is a personal God. No, Swami does not place himself at a pedestal. He always comes to us, working to sincerely pray to him. There was an instance when in my first year undergraduate, my room leader told me, Abhin, when you pray to Swami with a sincere heart, Swami listens. So I was sitting along the curb. I shared this in the earlier talk somewhere, but I want to share this now. This and another one. I was sitting along the boys in Prashantanian during Luzon Cyclone Hall was not yet reconstructed, so it was open air, early morning, Sunday morning darshan. Swami comes. He says, walking past. Then this part comes, whatever you pray, Swami listens. In my heart of hearts, I was saying, Swami, look at me, look at me, look at me, look at me, look at me. The prayer was inside. So I was actually facing the other direction, collecting letters from devotees. And the moment he is in line with me, right in front of me, he suddenly whirls around, looks into my eyes and says, God. I was saying, look at me in my heart, and then in my heart and mind, and then Swami suddenly turns and looks at me. And his head goes like this. He doesn't say what, but he said, I think Swami. And then he moves on. When you pray sincerely from the heart, even that physical body of the Lord will respond to you. Come to another birthday. This was the time when, Swami was physically limited. And as is our want, cutting a cake is something that, all of us have been trained from our child, celebrate a birthday, cut a cake. It's not part of Bharatiya Sampradaya, but yes, it is a custom. So in order to keep us happy, Swami said, okay, all of you bake cakes, no problem. So there were so many cakes. During those days, the middle portico, as it was called, was full of cakes on Bhagwan's birthday. So all the cakes would be laid there and Swami would come cut the cakes. But since it was physically limited, I was actually thinking, whether high secondary school, senior boys hostel, Central Trust, Cultures, Hospital, alumni, multiple cakes were there. Maybe about 8 to 9 cakes, all of them 3-tier cakes were there. And all these cakes were woodcut. Considering Bhagwan's physical limit, how was he able to hold it work? So I told the land leaders that, I told the in-charges, look, depends on Bhagwan's state. That is not, disturb Swami. If Swami comes this side, then yes, he will cut the cakes. But if Swami doesn't come this side, he will pray to him. We will take the cakes to him. Let the cakes go to Swami. Let us not trouble Swami. Because earlier days, Swami would physically come, he would stand near each cake, cut each cake, take a photograph with the so-called cake boys. Every team is given a name. You have motorcycle boys, cake boys, escort boys, different names. Prefixes are attached to the word boys. So on that day, I voiced my prayer. I said to everyone, guys, don't insist, don't trouble Bhagwan. If Swami looks towards us, we will pray to him, we will take the case to Swami. We will not trouble Swami, and if Swami is not interested, let's not take it in the wrong way. So the point is, these cakes go back to the hostel, they are cut, they are shared, but in every hostel you are close to around, if you put everybody together, more than 2,000-3,000 people will be enjoying these cakes, bits and pieces of these cakes. So it's a kind of prasad. So on that day, I made this thought, express this thought to people. And then the thing continued, the whole program continued, the guest came, Swami came, it was a pretty long program. And the program was coming to an end, and Swami was coming and he was about to get into his car. And he came out of the interview, and then the boys were standing behind Bhagwan. I was really right up front. I looked up at the boys and I looked up at Swami, and then Swami very, very, very gently makes a signal. I mean, during those days, the boys who were with Bhagwan right behind them, handling his primary requirements, were so perceptive and intuitive that they knew exactly what Swami was referring to. There was just a signal from the guy behind, and I turned and said, nodded my head. Immediately, the top tier cakes of all the different cakes which were on the portico at that time, one after the other, like an assembly line, they come, I hold them and on Bhagwan's lap, Bhagwan gently cuts, shift the cake, push it out, shift the cake, push it out. So within a space of probably 120 seconds, like 2 minutes, even less than that, all the cakes had been blessed by Bhagwan and everything was okay. And I was just about to step back. You should see Bhagwan. Tell you will know as I think of it, I'm having those troubles. In that tumult, in all that sound, in all that, I don't call it noise, I will call it divine celebration. Everybody's vying for Bhagwan's attention, and Bhagwan just gently looks at me from the corner of his eye, nods his head, and gives a smile. Corner of the eye, it's a gesture that you really need to be focused, but he focuses your mind. And the message hit me immediately. Could be to me, could be to everybody. You asked. You thought of me, I thought of you. You did not want to give me any discomfort, and here I am, giving you so much of joy. Not just you, but everybody. Everybody would have been praying for this, that Swami should get the case. But why did he signal to me? I thought of him, he thought of me. This is the message that I take. This is the message that I would like to share. This is the message I'd like to live with. The more we think of the Lord, the more the Lord will think of us. The more we offer ourselves to the Lord, the more the Lord will accept us. The more we sublimate ourselves and surrender to His divine will, the more the Lord will bless us with His grace, His love for all eternity. Once again, I thank everyone for giving this opportunity to relive those wonderful moments with Bhagwan and to participate in this magnificent moment of Bhagwan's 100th birthday. Thank you. Jai Sai Ram.
Sai Ram everyone. I'm sure we'll all agree that that was a very inspiring talk by Uncle Arvind. I particularly enjoyed how he described the meaning of the descent of the Avatar, the reason being to promote love and compassion for mankind, to remind us all that we are indeed embodiments of divine love, and that Swami's message of love all serve all is not only just a quote, but indeed a way of life. Let's all remember Uncle Arvind's message and learn to not only preach, but put into practice, do good, see good, be good. For that really is the way to our divine Bhagavan. We'll now be taking a short 20-minute comfort break. Please can I kindly request everyone to be back into your seats promptly so we can begin the bhajans at 3:45. Could I also request the bhajan singers and percussionists who have practiced for later on to please come to the front of the hall at the end of the comfort break. Thank you very much. Sai Ram.